This is the WinBeta podcast for the week of Friday, March 27th, 2015. This is Michael Archambault. I have with me Zach Bowden.
Hello.
And Sean Michael.
Hello.
And you can see us. Well, maybe. It depends what podcast service you're listening on, I guess. But we have video now, so you can view our video on YouTube. This is a live podcast, so when we mess up, you get to see it.
And get to comment on it right away.
Yes, and comment. So if you're watching on
Tell
YouTube,
us how bad we are at being people.
not at our Windows news, just how overall terrible people we are.
I don't like your moral stances in politics. Whoa.
All right, so let's get right into the episode then. It's exciting. Okay.
It is very exciting.
See, we all got like all dressed up. No, I'm wearing a t-shirt, but
I'm wearing a hoodie.
Collar. I have a collar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean looks like the nicest of us. So
Sean looks like
That's
the
true
nicest
anyway.
human.
That's true anyway. So whatever.
just keep Sean up on the big screen. All right. So before we actually dive into the news of the week, we have a few announcements. Zach hates me, so I have to go. No.
Cue the music.
I'm actually.
Music.
I'm actually leaving WinBeta. I'm sad. No,
Yeah, I should have queued up some music, shouldn't I?
So I know many people are gonna be like super excited because I'm a fanboy. But yeah, I'm going.
Yeah.
It was nice to see all of you.
Are you able to tell everyone where you're going?
Yeah, I'm actually going to the 9 to 5 network. So I'm gonna be writing about Apple and Google.
You betrayed us, everybody.
Yes, I'm a terrible.
He likes
person.
that Yosemite, or what was it you called it? Yosemite.
Guys,
Yosemite.
did I pronounce it weird?
You did. It's Yosemite.
Oh, you're talking to me about accents. Anyway, so I'm gonna miss everyone here, and it's a shame.
Except you.
And I now get to be a Microsoft fanboy, which is really cool because when I'm in that weird middle zone where, like, if I'm here, I'm an Apple fanboy. If I go to like an Apple site, I'm a Microsoft fanboy, and if I go to Google Plus, no one's there to judge me.
You're like the guy that shows up to a sporting event rooting for the other team.
Hey, I went to a spring one. Anyway.
Wow.
So yes, Marcus, Apple, and Google. So there's two separate sites that I'm
He's
writing
doing
for.
two at once this time.
Actually, it's two keyboards at once.
Everyone wants to get rid of the American. For the reference, Sean is American.
That's true. I am.
He's American living in my country, so.
I may have left a website, but he left an entire country. So,
Good reason.
for a wonderful lady.
Yes.
There you go. All right. So, getting to the news this week, and don't worry, Zach is always going to be there for you guys.
I want a chocolate.
I apologize to interrupt quickly, but my stream stopped, Zach.
No, it's still going.
No? Okay. All right. It's just my terrible Apple equipment.
Just,
All right.
if it goes wrong, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. So, start the week, we're going to talk about our exclusive from Zach, of course, because Zach knows all the secret people. He's the secret editor.
Shadow
I'm
editor.
with that name. I don't care what it says on the website. You're the secrets editor. So, exclusive, Microsoft is building a successor to the Surface 2. That's the RT version of Windows. Had the RT version of Windows, but the successor won't have Windows RT on it. Do you want to tell us about that, Zach?
Yeah, well, the Surface 3, well, we don't know what's going to be called yet, but since it seems to be a successor to the Surface 2, I'm just going to call it the Surface 3 for the sake of time.
Sounds logical.
Yeah, so the Surface 3 will actually drop being an ARM-based tablet and will be an Atom-based tablet, I hear. So an Atom Cherry Trail, that's hard to say, Cherry Trail-based Atom CPU. So yeah, it will run full Windows, which is a first for the non-Pro Surface lineup, because for those who remember, the original idea of the standard Surface lineup was for it to be a Windows RT based lineup, and since Windows RT failed, there's no longer a need for Windows RT devices. So that's pretty much why this Surface 3 is going to be an Atom based tablet. And yeah, it will be marketed as a non-Pro device, meaning you've got the Surface Pro and then you've got the normal Surface, so it should be cheaper as well, considering it's got lower specs. Fanless, much like the Surface 2. And surprisingly, what I hear is that it'll be preloaded with Windows 8.1 because they're going to try and launch it before Windows 10 comes out. Why? I don't know. They could just wait an extra couple of months, but I think they need something out on the market.
Well, they're probably going to announce a Surface Pro 4 with Windows 10 and probably try to release those at the same time.
Yeah.
I would guess.
I'm guessing this non-Pro service is more like a bridge. Bridging between now and the Surface Pro 4.
Yeah,
For the
pretty
Surface
nice
2 people who are sad that they're not getting Windows 10.
I really like the idea of this because it's like it's fanless, it's going to be thinner, it's going to be lighter, but it's going to get full Windows. I think it's going to be great for a lot of Microsoft kind of catered a lot of their operating systems features around the fact that there aren't a ton of apps. Pinning pages to the start screen, being able to run programs when you're running Windows 8.1. So the RT had some great things, but it's also quite limited. Anyway, go ahead.
I mean,
sorry.
Windows RT would have been a good operating system if and only if developers picked it up.
Which they didn't.
Which they didn't. It's true.
We got to remember the reason, and we've said this before. The reason that Windows RT came out was because of the processors we had at the time. The processors were power heavy.
Yeah.
So the only way that Microsoft could get what they wanted on a device was to use ARM processors. Now that's not the case. Now we have Intel Core M and Atom processors. So not the most powerful things in the world, but they can run fanless. And I think it's great because I mean for me, for one, the Surface Pro is a great machine, but for someone who kind of wants a more casual machine, I would love to see another $500-$600 Intel Core M Windows 10 machine. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. So I guess this one it's either going to be M or Atom. I guess that's not obviously it's not existent, so we're not positive.
I mean, it's really the only two choices we have. If it's fanless, then we know it's going to be Intel or I'm sorry, what's going to be Intel? It's either going to be Atom or Core M. I'm hoping it's Core M.
It's likely to be Atom. I'm hearing it will be an Atom-based
Then I'm
tablet.
really upset.
Cherry Trail, though. Cherry Trail, the new one.
Cherry. So, actually, I like the name. Now I'm happy again. No, I don't know. I mean, Atom's a little bit weaker than Core M. They're very close, actually.
Yeah.
It's like Core M is like this weird wedge in between Atom and Core i3.
Core M is expensive.
Yes.
And
It's expensive now.
If you had a Core M in a non-Pro device, it would bump the price to the same as a Pro device. So then you'd be basically saying...
It would be close, very close.
Yeah, you'd say, I'm going to basically get a really high-powered non-Pro or a lower-powered Pro. One's fanless, one's not. It would really muddle the market. So I think they should separate them.
I'm too big, apparently. I'm being told that my face is too big on that.
No, it's because I zoomed in on your face. Ignore the comments.
It's Zach's fault.
I'll deal with the comments.
I know people don't want me to say this, but it's really an excellent comparison for what we're saying. With the new MacBook, it's Intel Core M, and it's expensive as hell. Yeah. So yeah, it's an expensive thing right now. But I mean, I don't know. Zach, can I ask if there's a release frame?
I believe they're going to announce it before or at build, so within the next month, really.
All right. So I mean,
and launch will be soon after.
Yeah.
And this isn't, just to clarify, this isn't going to be a Surface Mini or anything like that.
I don't think so. I wasn't told on any sizes yet, so.
The Xbox Surface. What was it called? Xbox Surface? No, I forgot.
It was called the Surface Mini.
Surface. No. There was like an Xbox Surface at one point.
Was there?
So.
Awkward. Anyway.
This is what really happens. We have these pauses, and like people will just like fade out for a second. And for some reason, people are really angry at Zach right now.
Yeah, I know. What's going on?
What'd you do, Zach?
Stop drinking food. I'm drinking. Oh God.
Shall we move on to the next story?
Moving on. Stop drinking food.
Is this my story by any chance? Yes, it is.
No, we're taking it.
Okay, you can take. Yeah.
All right. So moving on. More Windows 10 news. Big surprise. So jump lists. I love jump lists. I use them a lot in Windows 7. And I don't know if I use them that much in 8 for some reason. But I remember making use of them in 7. So they will be making their return to Windows 10.
Now, we already knew they'd be making their return to Windows 10, right? But now we just get to see them make the
It was
return
kind
to
of
Windows
it was
10.
kind of inferred, right?
Well, what happened was with Windows 10 is that they were in Windows 10 in the start menu, and then when they redid the start menu in January, they were gone, and people were not happy with this. So they're reworking it back into the new XAML starts menu, and that will be, I imagine, it will be ready for build. But you can enable it now in build 10,041 by doing a crazy regedit.
Is that crazy?
Well, I mean, am I gonna read that out on the podcast?
I'm going to read it out.
Go on then.
You can open regedit. It's not that hard. Open regedit and head to... See, if you know how to use the registry, it's very easy. Open regedit and head to the current user key, software, Microsoft, Windows, current version, Explorer, and then advanced. Then create a new DWORD value, 32-bit, and name it Enable XAML Jump View. Set its value to 1 and restart your computer.
And then you should have the magical jump list back on your start menu. It's not great right now, but it's there. So for those who have missed that feature, you can have it back in build 10,041, which is good.
Yeah, I'm happy for it. It looks nice too.
Well, it could look
What?
better.
Oh God, did I say? I'm sorry, I can't say that. Never mind.
It's Windows 10, Michael. You can't say that.
It's
Well,
ugly. No,
I'm just glad to see that these features that people want, they either aren't taken out, like in the case where they were still in Windows 8, they're still there in Windows 10, or if they were taken out in 8, they're adding them. And I think it's great. Like, I know that's really oversimplified way to look at it, but the Windows 10 start menu needs to be something where people, no matter how they feel or how much they love Windows 7, aren't going to say, but wait a minute, there's this one thing that it doesn't have that I'm really used to. And so everything that they add to that Windows 10 start menu is going to be a good thing for the Windows 10 brand.
Agreed. So you gotta. It's once again, it's the balance. It's when Windows 8 was a sudden shift for a lot of people. So with Windows 10, we really want to create a Microsoft really wants to create a smooth transition while introducing new features. So that being said, if you are a developer and you have your hands on Windows 10. The technical preview tools are now available to download. So here's how you do this. If you're a developer and you want to start cranking out your apps for Windows 10, you're going to have to do a few things. First of all, you have to be a member of the Windows Insider program, obviously, and you're going to need the latest copy of Visual Studio, which is actually in beta. So that's CTP5. It's the consumer test preview, I guess we're going to call it, Consumer Test Preview 5. You have to install Visual Studio 2015 to run it, but once you have it installed, and then the tools for Windows 10 preview, you can go ahead and start developing and compiling apps for Windows 10. That's it. So it's not a huge story. It's not groundbreaking, but it's nice because you can start with universal apps and compiling
Windows apps, Michael.
for
Windows
the OS.
Apps. They're no
I'm sorry,
longer
Windows
universal apps.
That's right. Which actually Zach can tell us more about that because I know he really wants to talk about that. So in an article this week we said universal apps are dead. Long live Windows apps.
Well,
Zach loves that title.
Universal apps aren't dead.
Just the name.
Very much alive. I
name.
apologize for everybody who got confused. Universal apps are very much alive, and they just have a name now. So they're no longer called Universal apps. They're called Windows apps.
So they're dead.
Like Aslan rising from the stone tablet, universal apps are still here and they're stronger than ever.
Yeah, and they've just got a name now, so a consumer can go up to someone else and go, "Did you get that Windows app? Yeah, it was great." So,
Well, apparently that's in line with, like, did you get that Apple? Like, isn't that in line with the other major operating systems anyway?
it's usually just an app. So, did you get
I
that
guess.
app? Yes.
I think the biggest thing for Windows is I see all the time they're like ads, and they're like, "Oh yeah, find this app on iOS," or they don't say this. Go to the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store or whatever, and then they don't say Windows, even though there totally is a Windows app for some of those. I don't know who's in charge of that marketing team for Windows. They're doing a really poor job when it comes to like getting that logo onto those commercials.
I get really excited when I see something that says for on the Windows Store. I forgot where it was recently. I think it was at a restaurant, and they actually had for the Windows Store on their thing.
I mean, if they took the time to make an app, you'd think they would take the time to add a logo. Like, that's not too complicated.
But there's companies that don't even promote their own apps. I mean, you got Dropbox, for example, who hired Rudy to develop their official Dropbox app, and Dropbox doesn't even promote the app on their website. So,
Yeah, it's a sad day for well, actually we're going to get into that later, but it's just the App Store situation. It's like, honestly, even when it is better, I'm not sure people would know about it because of this sort of thing. It's like the App Store, like Ron did a story, 200,000 apps in the Windows Store, and then they keep rising. That's you can track like real time how many apps there are and stuff. And it's kind of, even if these apps do come about, they're not always there. And I don't know how people would know about them. So if you already say Windows no apps, and then you never see the Windows logo below any commercials for, why in the world would you assume that it's changed?
It's one of the ongoing issues. So, speaking of the Windows apps, so let's we could quickly actually break down. This is better for developers, just to know the difference between the new Windows apps and the other ones are being labeled Windows desktop applications. So very different there. Windows desktop apps run on PCs only, while Windows apps run on all Windows device families, meaning your phone, it's the whole your phone, your tablet, your laptop, probably Xbox One at some point. From a developer standpoint, both applications can access Windows RT APIs, Windows COM APIs, although Win32 APIs, which if you develop in .NET, you know about those. Only a limited number of them are available in developing a universal. Sorry, I keep saying universal in developing a Windows app.
You can still call them universal.
So
no one's gonna kill you for
Zach
that.
is going to be on this. This is like Metro. The whole way.
Well, except universal isn't really a trademark. Oh, is it? Oh, it is. Universal is a trademark.
It is. So, and then, of course, obviously, Windows desktop apps are going to be either .exes or .msi like we're used to, and Windows apps will be in their .apx packages, which you don't really see because it's from the store. So that's it.
I don't. What's the functional? Like, what's an example of a Windows? What was it? Windows desktop application.
A Windows desktop application is anything that you don't buy through the Windows Store. So
it'd be like a program.
So Win32. Well, actually, you can get Win32 apps from the Windows Store, can't you?
Well, it will direct you to the site to get it.
So, like Camtasia Studio is a that's a Windows desktop.
Like Photoshop or Microsoft Office or Notepad or anything like that. Windows apps or anything that you can get through the Windows app stores.
I guess it's good to keep those named differently because they honestly are pretty different.
One's called Windows Desktop App, one's called Windows App. So, Microsoft. Okay, I don't know, man. That's just me.
Zach, what do you think of the naming scheme?
Well, for the universal apps.
Well,
I mean, it's Windows. I mean, because what they're trying to do, they're trying to make it because modern UI apps run in the desktop now.
Oh, so you couldn't call them that?
So it's for consumers. A Windows app is a Windows app, whether it's Photoshop or whether it's something from the Windows Store. It's still a Windows app, and that's all they're trying to do.
Yeah, I guess that would help people see. Like, I know they did the ad campaign for a while where they were like, "Oh, I have apps." There's like an Apple dude. He's like, "I got apps," and he's like, "No, not apps, programs, like full Photoshop." And then it's like, but now you're trying to say like that's part of Windows, like that's something that you get. And now without our RT, that's something you get on basically every device that's a certain size.
Can I just say that is so funny? Oh, and hi, Tom Warren. Thanks for dropping our chat. Can I just say, I just looked over and and I completely forgot. Warren has erased my mind.
Tom Warren's here.
Jesus. What I was going to say is that Sean made a good point. As soon as Sean said, program versus app, I've kind of always thought of that too.
Well, I always thought
that's the
easiest way to.
Because that's what I've said. Because everyone thinks of an app and they think of a mobile app or something that you would install from the app store, which makes complete sense. And then a program, which is always what you refer to as older pieces of software by.
Yeah, but that's what we know. That's not what your grandma knows.
No, I know. I'm just saying that's how people reference
your grandmama knows.
Yeah.
I think that's how people reference it. So
I think that it's unless they clarify, I could see it being confusing because, like Zach said, you're going to have Windows apps in the desktop, and then you're going to have Windows desktop apps in the desktop, which, unless you explained it, could confuse people quite a bit. But if they market it correctly, it's actually a good thing because then you can say, look, like, sure, we don't have this app, but the program's right here, and it's right next to your other app. so you don't have to
Yeah.
think of them differently. Bam, Photoshop there. Bam, this app over there. That's great. So I think clarifying can help as long as they do it correctly. It's like anything with naming, it needs to stick. If people start using it, you can name it anything. Google used to be a number. Like, if people pick up a name, it's fine.
Exactly. By the way, Zach, people are throwing bras at you.
I don't think that's me that's throwing bras at.
Oh no, are we?
I don't think that works over Skype.
Are bras being thrown at Tom?
Oh, it's a
bras are
Tom.
in the air.
Poor Tom. Tom, just leave.
Right. All right. So in reference to apps, we had an interesting thing come up with Microsoft Lumia posting a video, which Sean wrote about this week.
Oh, I had so much fun.
What was wrong with the video, Sean?
Well, here's the thing. I actually think the services that they're promoting are both good. I like OneDrive. I use it all the time. And if this, then that, or IFTTT, as you'll see it most of the time, is great. Like, I love if this, then that. It's got all sorts of cool services, and it's an automated service where, like, if you take a photo and share it on one social media, it can also share it on another one, or it can share it to your OneDrive. And that's a cool feature, except in this specific case, I don't want to say completely, but it's pretty close to completely redundant. Because the thing they were featuring was take a photo on Instagram, and it automatically backs up to OneDrive. Well, I tested this out. I went ahead and I downloaded Instagram Beta, which is another part of this story. They're promoting Instagram, which doesn't support them. Instagram basically got forced into making a Windows app in the first place for mobile. And then they haven't updated it in like a year. And then if you do take a photo, which I did on my Lumia 930 in Instagram, it automatically backed it up to OneDrive anyway. You didn't need to set up if this then that, which, by the way, doesn't have a Windows Phone app. It actually does work in Internet Explorer, don't get me wrong, but would it be that hard if it already works to port in an app and then add a few other features, make it the interface a little bit easier? So Instagram, not supported. If this then that, not supporting Windows Phone, and it's a redundant feature, and it's part of this series that's supposed to make people's lives easier, but it's added at a step that you didn't need in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, the thing was they showcased a lot of apps that don't support Windows Phone.
I mean, God, you had to bring that up.
Well, that's like the whole point. Like, they're like, hey, YouTube. It's like, no.
No, and YouTube is terrible. It doesn't matter what app I use for YouTube on Windows Phone. It's like once every month or two, they change things and they stop working. Yeah.
I mean, I have a question. If anyone, we're looking, if you go to the Microsoft Lumia post that we're talking about on our website, there's a screenshot of the different apps they promote. Does anyone know what the second app is? It's like two white. Did Zach just close?
Whoa, that was fast.
I took that off.
Oh, okay. Jeez. Zach is stripping.
Just keep going.
He heard those comments and he got them.
Does anyone know what the app with the two dots are? Is that Flickr? Because it's if Dropbox, then OneDrive. If two balls, then OneDrive.
I don't know.
If Facebook, then OneDrive. If Pocket, if RSS. So,
like I said, some of these features are cool. I don't hate if this. I don't want anyone to say, "Oh, if this, then that's a cool feature." I know it's a cool feature. I've used it before. Like, it's fine. It's just the idea that it was posted by Lumia. Microsoft Lumia posted this video, and it was made by someone else, but it was posted by them. And it's just like, well, you're posting videos that don't even support you. That's like, I did a story on a network that was using Azure to broadcast sporting events. And then so I was like, yeah, look, it's powered by Azure, great, blah, blah, blah. And I posted a story. And then one of the comments is like, yeah, I went and I checked it, and they don't have a Windows Phone app. And they don't have a Windows app. And it's like, so I can do a story about, oh, look, they're using this Microsoft product. And it's like, yeah, Microsoft. And then, sorry, actually, if you're using Microsoft, you probably won't be able to use this service. And it's just, I find it really frustrating.
You know what they used to say? They used to say, use the website.
Yeah, but then you have people like Bank of America where the website doesn't even work.
No, yeah.
Well, that's an issue there. I mean, does anyone remember Facebook with
No, I don't know what Facebook is no more.
What's MySpace?
I'm sorry,
Is that
Ello?
what you said?
Everyone's on Ello, right? But when a certain I feel like I can't even say things anymore. No, what? Screw everyone else. When the iPad first came out,
You try not to
because people
avoid.
get
You try
angry
to
when I
avoid
reference-
Apple.
Whatever. Look, if
Yeah.
Microsoft puts Office on the iPad before they put it on Windows tablets, you can bring it up.
Yeah, but no, what I was gonna say is Facebook didn't have an app for a year.
On the iPad.
Yeah,
Like, a
well,
lot of people
Microsoft
don't
makes the
realize
Facebook
that.
app,
Yeah,
right?
but you could
Yeah.
you could
No, but
you could
because
blow up the iPhone
Facebook,
app.
Facebook always used to say what Zach just said. They were like, go to the website.
But you could use the iPhone app on the iPad, just bigger.
Yeah,
So, but you can't do that on a Surface.
but terribly.
No, I mean, I think that Windows,
Well,
like
now with Universal app, I'm sorry, Windows
Windows apps.
whatever. With those things,
I find this so frustrating. I hope I'm not the only one that's frustrated by this sort of thing. It's like, I love Windows as a platform. Sometimes it's funny because we have people tell us that we're fanboys, and then we have people tell us that we're always negative. And it's like, obviously,
I don't get fanboy comments.
no. But the point is, like, it's just frustrating as a platform when there are services like you see, like, oh, they pulled an app. And it's like, they already had an app. Why would you pull it if you already have it? And then it's like, oh, they're not going to make an app. Or one of the worst cases was when what was it? Rudy's app. It got pulled. Snapchat.
Oh,
They pulled the Snapchat was like, we're
it called
blocking anybody that uses third-party apps.
Six
Rudy's
Snap.
app not usable anymore. Oh, and by the way,
Well, no, that
we're
was
not
an
gonna.
Instagram issue. The
Well,
blocking.
that's I don't know. It's just
I get what
unbelievable
you're
to
saying. I
me.
get what you're saying.
It's just so frustrating because it's like, if you don't want to support it, but somebody else is supporting it,
Yeah.
then you should let them.
Well, that was one of the issues. I don't know if you remember, Microsoft came out with all the sites that didn't want to make apps. They kind of had the web wrappers for them. Do you remember?
I would
them
take a
doing
web
that?
wrapper app.
But people were
if it works.
upset and had them pull stuff that was in the web wrapper. So, like, they made a web wrapper for, like, cars.com. So you download the app, it was like cars.com, and they had to pull it because the company was like, hey, I don't, you're using our. It's weird. Microsoft will go, like, the extra length, like, to develop. I mean, it's not a full app, but something for you. And then you just.
I don't know what it is. Like, and I'll be honest, I don't understand some of the reasoning. Like, the Snapchat thing is a perfect example. There was literally a perfectly functional app by a wonderful developer who big name companies like Dropbox have used before. Like, he had the, I don't know what Dropbox is when he did it, was 6 something, I'm sure. But and a great app.
Cloud, I think.
6Cloud, that sounds right. And then Dropbox was like, hey, like, why don't we work together? And it's like, oh, cool. Well, I'm proud. Like, that's great for Rudy. Like, proud of him.
Yeah,
Great developer. He did the same thing. Snapchat. And he was like, hey, you can, like, we can work together. And they were like, yeah, don't care.
He just didn't do that. Rudy actually sent the source code to Snapchat and said, here, have it.
And they still didn't use it.
And they haven't touched it. So, as of now, as we know. So,
do we know the reason for that? I've heard that there's some people from Snapchat just not big fans of Windows. Is that true?
Yeah, that is true. Didn't Snapchat's CEO like publicly say he's not into Windows Phone? I'm sure he said something.
Can
I'm
I
gonna
explain
find that out right
just
now.
for a second? Let me just explain for a second who like manages Snapchat, because a lot of people don't realize this. Like, Twitter and all these other platforms were put together by these great people who understand and love technology. Snapchat is basically like a few bros, and I'm being very literal here. This is not like, they're like a few frat boys who decided to like put together an app, and it got popular. And now they're like rich frat boys.
Who still act like rich frat boys.
So it's very weird. It's not like, it's not like Twitter, and the guy's like, yes, I want to promote da-da-da.
But if you're a business and someone hands you for
that's
free.
The thing, they don't have a great, I mean, let's talk about something positive about Windows Phone.
Like
which
what?
is actually
No, I love Windows Phone. I'm mad at people like this because it's like I said, Windows Phone is great. I love Windows Phone. I don't understand if someone hands you the source code. You literally have to do what? Nothing? You have to do nothing?
Just republish
Sean is so angry right now.
Well, no, he's got a point because companies are on purposely avoiding Windows Phone now.
And it's not like, I could understand if you said something like Bank of America, if they came out and said something like, bank securities obviously integral, this is a lot of money. We aren't going to support it because it costs money to maintain and your finances are more important than just shoving out an app. Like, I wouldn't be thrilled about it, but I can understand it.
Do you
That's
just want
not
a
what's
better PR announcement?
well, that
Because like,
no,
that's honestly what Chase is doing. Like when Chase and Bank of America want to pull things, it's because it takes money to to keep the app up to date.
right. But Snapchat, it doesn't cost that doesn't do that. Like that's
not true.
Well,
Snapchat's always updating.
Well, but they still shut down Rudy having a third-party app for it. How much maintenance was it when they weren't involved in it at all?
Yeah, I mean, Tom. I'm actually reading the chat. So Tom actually made a comment about it might be Microsoft support, video support. I don't think that's an issue. I mean, to be honest, I have quite a few. I mean, I'm sure he does too. But I have quite a few people who work on video apps specifically on Windows Phone and the Windows, just the whole Windows ecosystem. I mean, like, just to negate that, it's like, just like Sean's saying, there's an app out there already. It works. Like,
I don't like that people, it's like, why isn't it popular? Because there aren't apps. Why aren't there apps? Because it's not popular. Well, you know what? If someone hands you an app that you don't have to do much for, you should just take it. Because doesn't it help you to have more people use your service? Isn't that how you make money?
Yeah, but this is the thing. It's not that many more new people, is it?
Not in the States, but in Europe, Snapchat's big too, and Windows Phone is bigger. There was a mark in Italy last year. There were months where there were more people on Windows Phone than iPhone.
Yeah.
That's short moments.
Well, no, it was like 3 or 4 months out of last year in Italy. There were more users for Windows Phone than iPhone.
Yeah. I mean, some people in the chat right now, they're talking about SixTag. Because SixTag supports Instagram video. Well, the official Instagram app does not. And it's been commented that it's because Rudy actually offloads his work. What is it? Rudy offloads his processing to the cloud, and that's why people have to pay to use SixTag. But it's like, it's Twitter. They can't afford it? Are you really telling me like Rudy can afford it and Twitter can't?
I think it's what you said though. Like what the people from Snapchat said, we don't want to support Windows.
Well, Twitter needs to fix up their Twitter app before they think about anything
else.
All
right. Anyway, before we go into this like terrible down spiral,
we got to move on.
We do have some great news. So Zach has some news about Windows 10 for phones.
I do.
And the look of the new messaging and phone app.
Well, yeah, these have been seen before, really. Microsoft has demoed the new messaging, the Windows Store, the Windows app messaging and phone apps. The new phone app was in the first Windows 10 for phones technical preview, but the messaging app was not. So those who downloaded the new Windows 10 SDK got a new build of Windows 10 for phones in emulator form, and that new build includes an early version of the universal messaging app, which should eventually, I believe, it might be Skype, but one of the apps are going to run across both, and you should be able to text and Skype from both apps. Regarding it doesn't matter if you're on the desktop or on the phone, so that should be good. So just like on OS X,
that's a great feature.
I believe that's coming with the universal.
I have a question for you, Zach. I noticed you run the screen capture, so you're running in the emulator.
Yes.
Visual Studio Pro.
Yeah.
Can you? Obviously, it's touchscreen interactive.
You can touch the screen. If you have a touch screen, yeah, but you can use it with a mouse.
Okay. Have you tried it on your XPS?
No.
Okay, because I want to know more about. I know I keep bringing this up every time we talk about Windows Phone, but I want to know more about the nub.
It works like have you ever used one of the old ThinkPads? I think the new one's got them as well, like the little nub in the middle of the keyboard. It's just like that, except instead of it being a cursor, it's just the type. What's it called? The thing that flashes when you type.
Thing that flashes when you type.
The little cursor thing?
The cursor?
Well, yeah, but not the mouse.
Oh, wait. So it's just removing the cursor.
Yeah, so you can just move up and down text and navigate text and stuff.
Oh.
That's all it is. I mean, people flipped out over it, but it's only a little
Well, I was curious. I was going to ask that too. I was like, it's not a mouse pointer, so it's a BlackBerry Love button.
I still like it.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting. I mean, I definitely utilize it.
I think Windows Phone has a great keyboard. Like it's worth pointing out. Like they already have a really solid keyboard.
I mean, that's the thing about the OS. It's there are things that have to be trimmed out, but I really miss using Windows Phone. I honestly wish I could use Windows Phone every day.
You can. There's a store down the street.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But like I love the keyboard. I miss the keyboard on Windows Phone. I miss a lot of things on Windows. Live tiles.
Zach, do you swipe?
Great.
Or what do they call it? Wordflow? Do you Wordflow
I
keyboard? Or
workflow all the time.
do you like it?
I do. I like it a lot.
I mean, I use that. That's like my primary like message or way to enter messages, and I
You know
text.
what? And since I've been using the 435, because my 930 is aways for repairs, Wordflow is actually easier on a smaller keyboard, a smaller screen.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Crazy.
That's a preview, folks. We're gonna have a 435 review coming up, right, Zach?
Yeah.
There it is.
Hopefully, if I don't die before it's done.
How about the XL?
No, that's the 640 that gets the XL.
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't you say 640? What did you say?
No, I said 435.
Oh, my bad.
435.
So,
In green.
if you want to check it out, you can take a look at the video. It's on our YouTube channel, which you're obviously on now. So subscribe because you're here. And then go ahead and check that video out. Windows 10 phone build, 10,030 messages, phones, and more. And you can hear Zach's wonderful voice as he takes you through the Windows phone experience. Windows 10 for phones experience.
Yes.
And he'll tell you about pasta.
What?
Pasta.
Oh, God. I was like, that's an old reference.
Look, this is a loyal fan base, Michael. They get all of our references, even from the Lost episode that never actually got aired.
Yeah.
So what? Here, all right. Anyway, next article is what? So when I came to WinBeta, Where am I?
You've already forgot our name, Michael. You're not even done yet.
Yeah, you're still here for like another half an hour.
when I came to WinBeta, one of my first articles was an antivirus article, and I got shredded to pieces because people thought I was like hired by Norton to come in, I guess, and infiltrate. So I'm going to go out on a good note. Let's talk about antivirus. So
You're leaving how you started.
Exactly. So Windows Defender's malware protection still leaves much to be desired after recent evaluation. And I'm there in the background going, no crap. So we've talked about this before. No one seems to believe me, but there's more stats again. Basically, AV Test went ahead. They're the big independent IT security institution, and they go ahead and test all the antivirus products that are put out every year. So they went ahead and they tested Windows Defender to see how well it operated, and not too much surprise, it didn't do too well. In terms of protection, I'm actually bringing up the specs on my screen so I can read them directly to you. So protection against zero-day malware attacks. So that's the day they're launched. 68% of zero-day malware was blocked. The average is 94%.
Wow.
Oh.
Widespread malware, so malware that's been out for at least a month, they captured at a 79% success rate. The industry standard is 98%. They were a bit faster with performance, which is nice, and I think that's why a lot of people like to use them. No false warnings, although they did have a false detection of legitimate software. Actually, so the first one was no fake warnings when visiting websites.
Hey, you have a fake warning. They don't even cover all the actual stuff. I'm not too worried about them telling you about fake stuff.
So I mean, there you go. That's it sums it up. Industry average 98%. Windows Defender is protecting you against 79%.
Just
go on, Michael. Sorry. I was going to say in comparison, for example, you want to compare something else. They compared. What do we have here? Is this Kaspersky? I think that we have Kaspersky right here, and it had 100% blocking versus 78%. So
that's more percents.
Look, phrase good.
Cadenza says in the chat, it's something actually kind of a good thing. The best antivirus is your own head, and I was actually going to spin off to this because
which is hold on.
Go on.
Which is true. I mean, it's true because a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm smart and I don't need antivirus."
Well, here's what I was about to go into. I don't use it. I use Windows Defender, but I don't configure it or nothing. So I don't sit down and go, I need to install an antivirus software. I install Windows and I go about my day. So Windows Defender is the only thing that's stopping me and the virus from talking.
If you are very tech savvy and you are very safe and you do not visit any shady websites like office.porn, okay?
No, that's owned by Microsoft now. It's okay.
Yes, okay, so you can go visit off Stophorn. But if you don't visit any of those sites, okay, Windows Defender might be okay for you. I mean, there's still, possibilities of mail or misclicking a link or I don't know.
I don't get a lot of
suggest-
viruses or malware. I feel like that's just because of my browsing habits. Like I just don't go to a lot of places that I'm going to run into that.
Yeah. What are you running?
In terms of antivirus?
Yeah.
No, just like Zach. Just like
Okay.
I'm not the only one, and I tweeted
No,
about
no,
this.
I know you're not the only one. I mean, I think
majority
you're
of people
right.
are just Defender users. Or
and
they
it's,
see
it's
it.
not because I don't like the other programs. Like I know that they're good. Like that's fine. Like I trust them. You have the stats right there. I don't feel like I go to places that would justify me needing to have that, and I don't have a lot of, private data on my computer that is really worth hacking from anyone's perspective. And it just,
I mean, all right, here's my recommendation, even though people don't care. But Windows Defender is fine if you're extremely safe and cautious. I think the average person should at least have AVG Free Edition. I think AVG Free Edition is a great. Zach doesn't like that.
I hate AVG.
in widescreen, high definition.
Sponsored
Yeah, I
by
know.
AVG.
That did you all see the teen and the roll eye? Nothing.
I didn't.
Zach's dramatic flair with his eye roll.
Well, he's working on replacing
Anyway.
Zane what's his
Yeah,
face
no.
from One Direction. He's got to be a teen idol.
guys, please.
Zach's like, you're ruining my career.
Team Gnome says in the chat, Zach doesn't practice safe browsing.
No, it doesn't. It's anyway. Free Avast and AVG free editions always rate as the highest. For active protection, which is another thing people don't realize because they'll download AVG and AVG doesn't have what's called active protection. Same thing with Avast. That's kind of what you pay when you buy paid software.
Does not have protection. That's right.
So, and then everyone throws spikes at my heart when I actually say that I recommend Norton as number one for paid antivirus, and that's because they've actually not before like 2011 they redid their code base, so it works really well and it's actually really it's really low performance on your machine. Like it doesn't use much CPU or memory or anything, and it consistently gets like one of the top ratings in antivirus testing. So, I mean, I think if the last time you tried Norton was pre 2012-ish, then I understand your hatred. But I think if you haven't tried it since then and you want a strong solution,
I think that's my issue with antivirus because I used to use antivirus when it was clunky and like it take a long time to turn your computer on and whatnot. So I eventually gave up with it.
I mean, that's kind of like it's the same thing that Microsoft's doing with IE, where it's like, okay, people don't like IE, so we're changing the name. It's like antivirus kind of has that flack where antivirus is terrible, and there's still terrible options. I mean, we had an article where Lenovo was offering McAfee for free to Superfish to users who had Superfish installed, and I literally said in the end of the article, I was like, please don't download McAfee. It's terrible. It slows down and bogs down your system. I'm like, go get, and then I listed everything I just talked about now. And I don't know. I'm a little different than everyone else. I like having security on my machine. I think a lot of people don't take it as serious as needed. For example, Windows Firewall. I never felt safe enough with Windows Firewall. I think as we go forward, it's going to get worse. That's why I think people should get more accustomed to it now.
Don't you think a lot of people don't use this though? It's like you could drink water from a stream or you could drink water through a filter. And there's some people who are like, I'm dying of thirst. I want water right now. And that's not honestly a safe decision. If you're out camping, don't drink directly from a stream. But in the analogy, I think people just, if they're used to McAfee or old Norton, and it's just like, it slows down your computer, then they don't want to use it. So, I mean, it's probably worth looking into. Like you said, if one of them really is kind of low, actually in the background, if I don't feel like I'm breathing through a straw instead of just breathing, then I wouldn't mind an antivirus, honestly.
I mean, it's what people said in the past. If you had a bad experience, which a lot of people did. I mean, that's always been the thing that manufacturers have stuck on your PC, and that in 6 months you get annoying pop-ups. And antivirus is a very sensitive solution that people they don't want to talk about. Because it's like, oh, that stuff's crap. I just So I don't know. I think it's going to get worse. I agree with Team Gnome in the chat who says McAfee is worse than most viruses. Yes, you're right. It is. It's terrible. It will slow your computer down more. I don't know. It's up to you. I feel like, for example, right now I feel really weird being on this operating system that I'm on and not having any sort of security software.
Me too.
Which bothers me. No, it doesn't. Zach's fine.
Practice safe browsing, guys.
Like, did you know said blank machine I'm using right now ships with the firewall off?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah.
So it has one, but it's shipped off.
It's
shipped
so
off.
big of itself. Like, you know what? We're so secure. I'm gonna. Ship
We're
this
still awesome. And you know what? I was like, no, you're not. You're not. It's an image thing.
Did you turn?
Anyway.
Did you turn it back on?
Yes. Well, their excuse is that their operating system doesn't have as many holes as and available open ports as Windows.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because then you have Adobe, which runs something in the background and opens something up. And then, I don't know. So, anyway, let's talk about Adobe Flash. No. Okay.
No smooth transitions this week, apparently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
much better. Much better than that one time where I was like flawless, but the listeners don't know that because we edited it out.
I'm bringing that up for live. That's happening right now. Okay, so here's what happened. This is a story between
Do we
all
have
of us
to?
here.
Do you have to read
Yes,
it
this
bad?
is
This is the
I
benefit
am-
of live.
I am pissed at Zach because he removed in last week's podcast. We had Sean made the most butter smooth transition I have ever heard in my life listening to any podcasts. Do you remember what it was?
It was about
It was about the.
he had a bunch of devices, and I said,
Requirements.
"Yeah, you have a bunch of laptops. Are they all running Windows 10?" And he's like, "No." And I was like, "But they all will be able to, right? Because Windows just recently announced the minimum system requirements." And then
Yeah.
he was just
And
totally
Zach
somewhere
just
else.
Killed the ball. He was like, nah. And he was dead. And
It's a cool
I was
story,
so
bro.
bad because we have never edited a podcast ever. Whenever we record a podcast, it goes straight to you guys. So
say that you
I
weren't there
put-
editing when I did.
no, I did. I never took anything out, and then I gave Zach the controls. And you know what he did?
It was the worst. It was the worst bluff
He
we've ever
edited
had.
his awkward moment out.
It was so bad. Oh,
That
Sean
is
said
so
we should
good.
edit it out as well. It wasn't just
I
me.
did.
It wasn't just me.
Then no, it's
You were outvoted,
yeah, you were.
so
right.
sad. I can't be outvoted.
but now we're live, so they get to hear
Listen,
all the awkward.
I'm in the middle of the video. I make the rules.
He's wider than us on the screen.
Yeah, exactly.
That's more
Yeah,
important.
We're very upset by that because we all have HD cameras, and for some reason Zach has been held up in like the awesome.
Well, Skype doesn't.
So I don't know
apparently
what
Skype
that
doesn't
is.
transmit HD widescreen. There you
I
go.
don't
If we
know.
was all in the same room, we'd all have like our
Way
own.
to go, Microsoft.
Yeah.
Oh, if I can just say quickly, someone in the comments said Malwarebytes is a perfect combo to use with Windows Defender, and it is. It really is. Malwarebytes has an excellent detection rate. The only problem is unless you pay, Malwarebytes does not have real-time protection.
Don't you
So
think that?
it's just a scanner. But if you want to run Windows Defender, and because it's lightweight and like you don't, and you're very careful, and then you want to have Malwarebytes in the background and run it, schedule a scan weekly or monthly. I would suggest weekly. That's fine. I think that's a great solution. So
Don't you
Promethean.
think part of it's advertising, or like you said, it's like a brand thing? Like if you told someone like this anti-malware software, they'd be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, malware, that's really bad. Like I should stop that." But if you're like antivirus, they'd be like, "Oh, that's going to slow down my computer."
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, when I had worked in retail, everyone bought antivirus.
Really?
Yeah, like
Okay.
it was one of the things. It was like, hey, you're buying a laptop. The two top things we sold were always like people always wanted external mice, and people always wanted a antivirus.
Or if you're like me, you get an external mic with a boom. With a
Someone
boom.
commented on that, by the way, in the chat. They were like, "Oh,
What'd
look
they
at
say?
Sean." I forgot what it was. It's like, "Oh, look at Sean's big mic."
Well, the mic is the same. All three of us use the same mic. I just have.
Yeah.
We have blue snowballs.
Which is really funny 'cause it's like Zach and I had,
mine's shiny. Mine's the best.
Mine's black and his is white.
and I have the white one. So it's like Zach and I had been here, and we have like our microphones, and then we're like, "Hey, Sean, you want to be on a podcast?" And he runs out and builds like a professional boom mic stand.
Studio. He hires out a studio and everything.
I
was like,
break up the
okay.
part. No. I'm studying broadcast journalism, so I use this for school and for work. And so when I did a Bing bracket breakdown, which some of you weren't very happy about because it wasn't one of Zach's Windows 10 builds, but I use it for that sort of thing as well. So you need it. It's a hassle to have to deal with things. I like that I can just move it around, and I have a pop screen.
Yeah. Ooh.
I don't.
I heard if you just put a sock over the mic, it works the same. No, I'm serious. Like that was like the ghetto DIY hack.
You know, not too long ago, I actually dropped this microphone, and it's got the biggest crack in the world at the back of it. It still works.
Yeah, these are great mics. I mean, I have no problem saying Blue Mic is awesome.
Sponsored by Blue Mic.
So, no, we're not.
I asked
We're not
Mike. I said, "What mic
by-
do I get?" And he's like,
everyone said Blue Mic,
"Go
right?
get this one."
Yeah, because we all
it's
use one. We all know.
They're like
Although,
$50.
There's one up from this
I don't know.
professionals use.
Yeah, there's the Blue Snowball, and there's like
It's like the longer one. It looks longer.
oh, that was the Yeti.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's $199. That's better for like singing
Okay.
Me.
and stuff.
Michael, do we have any more like news, or do we just get to talk
I'm
about whatever
sorry.
we
We
want
have one
now?
more. We just started. We kind of have an news-ish story. I'm gonna call it.
We have to.
It's basically just talking about Microsoft. It's the title of the article is called "Microsoft Wants to Convince the World They Have Become a Different Brand." It's an editorial by our own Kareem, and it kind of reflects on Microsoft and where they want to go and how they want to rebrand themselves. It's a long, wordy piece.
Piece,
So
but
honestly, it's a great piece. So, but if you want to read it, I would go read it. All we can say is it really just goes over, how Microsoft has been moving through their product range from from SkyDrive to OneDrive and Zoom to Xbox. It lays out the whole outline and how Microsoft wants to be the cool company again, and because Apple has always been that company that had like the fans, the crazy fan, which I don't think like anyone will ever hit that because that's just like cult status. But Microsoft is trying to be like cool and collect its fans and stuff like that. So
Let me
it's
ask
a good
you,
article.
instead of reading the entire article on the podcast, because like you
Yeah.
said, it is rather long. Question for both of you: do you think Microsoft has done that? Do you think that they're perceived better now than they were under Satya Nadella?
Yeah.
Do you think that they're actually perceived better now than they used to be?
Zach, do you want to go first? You want
No,
me?
you can go first.
Okay. I think they are perceived better, but I don't think it's because of Microsoft. So let me explain. I think Microsoft has actually been some negative light, obviously, because of Windows 8. And there's a lot of people I still talk to who feel negatively towards Microsoft because of Windows 8. But the cool part of Windows, I think, is actually coming from OEMs. Like when companies like, especially Lenovo, when Lenovo came out with like the Yoga, I can tell you right now, I walk through my campus, it's still mostly Apple products, but most of the PCs are Yogas now because I think Yogas are cool. Like they're that Windows laptop that it uses Windows 8 well. It flips around. It can kind of be this all-in-one machine. I mean, I remember there was a girl who had told me last year she was so proud she had a Lenovo Yoga 11-inch. And she was like, I saved up all year for this or something, or all summer I worked and I got my computer and I love it. So I think that Microsoft does have a better image now because of some of the devices being made. I think they're cooler and they're breaking the mold. But I don't know if Microsoft themselves. I mean, I think when you say Microsoft, people are still thinking about Windows 8 right now.
Well,
I mean, go ahead, Zach. I know you agree, but I think it's the OEMs who are putting a more positive light on the
the
situation.
OEMs are definitely part of it. Like the Dell XPS, the new one, the 13.
It's beautiful.
It's the best thing I've ever touched. I think it's a great.
And he has a girlfriend,
Oh God!
and holding her hand had nothing on the Dell XPS 13.
Damn
I
it.
was thinking it and I didn't say it. Go
I
ahead. Zach.
knew you was right. Back to what I was saying. But Microsoft has on its own has become a different company over the last, say, half a year. With the launch of the Windows Insider program, this is kind of where it started, and their openness to the public and to their competitors. So they've launched a bunch of, might say, better apps on iOS and Android compared to Windows Phone. They've opened up Windows a lot for the insiders, so they're now delivering pre-release builds. I mean, didn't they say that they are the first insider build of, I think it was the Windows 10 for phones build, was the earliest they've ever shipped a phone operating system.
I mean, you're also talking about now. I was kind of, I mean, I was talking more about like the everyday person. Like
But
most people are not
it
Windows
helps because, let's be fair,
insiders.
a lot of people. This is the whole Vista thing again. A lot of people said Vista sucked, regardless of if they used it or not, because people like us said it sucked. because the word gets, because we all say I'm the geek for the family and friends. So
No.
Right, back to
Too
what I was saying.
hot. I want to retire, man.
Go ahead, Zach. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so they hear it from us, and if I say Windows 8 sucks, they're going to say Windows 8 sucks, and they're going to tell their friends Windows 8 sucks.
I
so
agree.
in the end, it's kind of where the reputation comes from us.
I think one of the things that is a big difference, what you hit it on the head, Zach, is the insider thing, not only because early release and the techie side of it as well, but it shows a big commitment to following feedback. I know they might not do everything that every single person wants, but I think it'd be pretty hard to argue that Windows 10 and the preview system is not heavily reliant on feedback. And as opposed to Apple, who at one point said, people don't know what they want until you show it to them. And then you have I don't know if that's still their philosophy, so that could have been.
Yeah, that's
it probably is somewhere. In there.
Apple's philosophy is we know what's better for you, so sit down.
Right. So if you look at, like, what are the two options here? You have, we know what's better for you because we're tech guys, and then it's, we're willing to listen to you even though we're tech guys.
Yeah.
I think even if people don't know that, it's going to start, in the long run, it's going to start actually gaining traction among the non-geek crowd, where they sit there and say, this has some features that I really like, because over time, when you listen to people, you start making things that they want.
Can I say something to that, though?
Yeah.
I don't think people... I don't think people care enough. I mean, I think it's too much work for the average person. Like, I know what you're saying, and I know geeks definitely care about something like the Windows Insider Preview. I mean, for example, you know, I know you guys are in the UK. In the United States, we have a problem getting people out to vote.
Like, that's true here, too. We have elections in
half
2
of
months.
us are too lazy.
Yeah, like, people don't want to even vote for the president, who's, like, literally going to change the way they live. You know, so some people just don't want to get involved with the... I want everyone to. I kind of want to go after everyone and install the Windows 10 build. Like,
well, I think you need both, though. I mean, to be honest, like, you need someone who's going to say, we're going to try a force mouse pad, or we're going to try this new feature, scrolling with 2 fingers versus just one. Like, and that's, like, you need that. Like, that's fine. You need that half.
Yeah.
But you also need the feedback half. You really need.
I agree.
Admittedly,
I think Microsoft and Apple make a great yin and yang. Like,
So
they
exactly.
really do.
Apple usually innovate and then brings everybody forward. The iPhone did it, let's be fair. There's no way to argue it. The iPhone is the reason why we have phones like this today. Well, not exactly like that, but higher end phones like this today. Yeah, like that.
No, I think that's true. And don't you need it? I mean, I've said this before. Yeah. I think I love Windows, and that's great. And, like, I use it all the time because I like the interface. But it's just silly to sit there and say that you don't need both. But what I was going to say is that I think Microsoft is changing because of what you said, the OEMs. People, they aren't talking about, people generally that I know, they don't talk about jump lists. They don't talk about, like, I know that's what our whole podcast is on, and apparently some people listen to it and really care about it, and we appreciate that. But that's like a certain audience. Like you said, at a university campus, it's to be like, what does this do? I'm a university student. I only have $1,000. I'd really love a tablet, but I need to be able to do my schoolwork. Yeah. And they sit there and say, oh, well, here is a Lenovo that actually does what you just said. And they say, cool, I want that. It's not, oh, it's an iPad but, or it's a this but. It's like, it's what you want. Now, that's not for everyone, but it's for enough people that you start seeing it on campus and people recognize it. People say that when they see me handwriting my notes on my Surface, they say, oh, that's really cool that you can do that.
What a hipster.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, I'm such a hipster with my Microsoft products.
No, admittedly, Microsoft has also done its fair share of innovating with the Surface. I mean, who did tablets that can be turned into laptops? Did they do that before Microsoft? Did someone do it before Microsoft?
Tablets that can be turned into laptops?
Not successful. I mean,
tablets have, like, famous quote from Bill Gates when the iPad came out was Bill Gates said, well, my tablets have always been a Windows thing.
Yeah.
Because there was always Windows tablets before that.
They didn't.
And know what? They were full Windows PCs tablets, actually. So they didn't work great, but they were there. So Surface Pro 3 is definitely the greatest example of, it's so far.
And I mean that, like, genuinely. I'd also say, and that's a big part of it, Xbox is a huge reason that Microsoft is perceived differently, and I love that they're integrating it with the rest of the system.
Yeah.
Because you get like the geeky stuff. Like if you look at what the Kinect can do, like there's actually some pretty cool stuff. I know people for Halo, you don't need it, but it's a cool thing. But the fact that they integrate those, I think that people, they brand that well. They say Xbox, Microsoft, they know that those are together. And I think that the answer to this, I do think they've changed the perception up. Obviously, Microsoft's going to be fine. Like, they're going to be fine pretty much regardless. But have they changed the perception? I'd say, yeah. I don't know. Commenters, live commenters, non-live commenters, Walking Dead commenters. What do you think?
I mean, I think they're changing the perception. I think it's a work in progress. I think they do want to be the cool company again. And what's weird is they're they're the underdog now in a way. You know, it's weird to see like Apple on top, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they come out with. I love the Surface Pro 3. I see it on campus. That's one of the other machines I see on campus. People have Surface Pro 3s, and whenever I walk by them, I'm gonna be honest, I miss mine. I'm like, ooh, you know, that nice keyboard, or not nice keyboard, just the way, you know, that it folds
touch
down.
Screen? It's a laptop with a touch screen,
which I do miss. I miss a touch screen. I miss touch screens so much. That's probably what I miss the most. Because you know, it's weird because my boyfriend has an Acer that we just picked up for him, and so when I use his Windows machine and then I go back to my machine, it's weird not having. Yeah, I go to touch stuff on the screen and it doesn't work.
I mean, we have kids, like I used to work. Hey, I used to work at Build-A-Bear Workshop. I love it.
So cool.
Hey, when Michael leaves, I have a red panda named Michael, and he's going to replace you. And and I might bring him on in the post. Anyway,
do I get a Build-A-Bear for leaving?
No. If I live near you, you might. But anyway, So Build-A-Bear, one of the things that they switched to, though, admittedly, I think it does run Microsoft if we need to make it connected somehow.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah.
Your camera.
What? Oh, he froze.
You froze.
Can you hear me though?
Yeah, we can hear you. So you keep going. It's fine.
It'll come back.
Hopefully.
Yeah, whatever. Sorry about that, folks. I used to work at Build Workshop. They have touch screens now at Build-A-Bear Workshop for making the birth certificate. And my camera's getting smaller. Help me!
Zach's like, goodbye.
Long story short, is these little kids come in and they're like 3 years old, and they know how to use touch screens like that. It's just native. It's just little kid. It's like they learn how to use touch screens before they can form full sentences. And so
it's true. Yeah, because didn't Google release a YouTube Kids app? And it's aimed at kids who are like sub 5 years old. So
yeah, they did.
There's technology for kids now.
I see so many parents shoving iPads in their kids' hands as like a babysitter.
Yeah. I mean, it keeps them quiet for like an hour.
It does. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, you know, I just looked at the time. I realized we're actually at an hour and 20 minutes, I believe.
We've got to stop talking. We talked too much.
Actually, did we start?
No. We started the live podcast at 8, so we're at an hour right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're good.
We should do some.
Sure. I'm sorry. I'm looking at
some common questions, shouldn't we?
Yeah. Do you want me to go through the comments and you and Sean?
Don't go through the comments now. Do it. Let's ask them. Do you have any questions, guys? We can talk. Any statements?
So this part's just really going to be for the YouTube, like the official podcast.
Yeah, we should cut this bit out.
So why don't we do like the closing now?
I think this is good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how it works. We'll see how it works.
Because maybe they have the same questions.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live.
If you want to stop listening, do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So like this, official news over whatever. If you want to hear about our lives, you want to ask us about, no, I mean it. Like,
Sean, you're not that big of a celebrity yet.
I didn't say me. I said
you want to know what I'm wearing tomorrow? Just throw me a line.
Zach has a YouTube video with over 1 million hits on it. He's pretty famous.
Wow. My voice is famous.
Now your face is famous.
Now now move out the way, guys.
Anyway, so no real questions. Tech, otherwise, Britain versus America.
That's a common conversation.
We're gonna have to wait a second because the
stream's behind.
The stream's gonna have to catch up.
Team Gnome raised a good point during that last conversation. How Microsoft seems to do things before everybody's ready.
Okay.
That's a really good point.
Say again.
He does. Microsoft does things before the industry is ready. Like Windows 8 would have been great.
I think it's
Zune, another one.
Wow. Okay, these are coming in fast.
Right, we've got
I think I don't think they'll usually release things first. I think it's other companies that people want to be mentioned. But are you eating the filter? Fall filter?
So
I don't
many
know.
questions.
Okay, so here we go.
Where-
Zach, where do you get your builds?
I told people already. Ask this guy. If you
Ask that
whisper
guy,
into
okay.
both of their ears, they will tell you.
What do you
You
think?
got to get one first, though.
Windows T release manufacturers will everything Microsoft. Okay, so by the time RTM comes out, well, I mean everything's By the time RTM comes out, all the Windows 10 features are going to be pretty finalized.
Well,
So
a few things may be pushed back, but they're things that haven't been announced yet. So
yeah, but most
We're not
things
gonna
will
miss
be
it.
stabilized by then.
a couple of
Finalized,
things
sorry.
we know that won't be in the RTM. Extensions for Spartan. That was something they were talking about in the comments earlier. Extensions are coming to Spartan. Developers should be able to port, not directly just put on Spartan, but port their Chrome extensions to Spartan. So a few code changes and your extension should be ready to run on Spartan, but that won't be in the RTM. That should be coming in a later update to Spartan. So,
Do you think they'll actually do that?
yes, they are doing.
Okay. I sure.
That's
Well,
not-
hey, we talked. No, not Microsoft. Do you think companies will? Like, do you think WhatsApp will port their extension into Spartan?
This is the whole thing with the whole Android apps on Windows Phone again. I think for people are saying they're going to do it, I kind of think they're going to take a different approach to it. They might tell developers that it's easy to port their apps to Windows Phone.
Yeah, I don't
Slight
think
code
they should
changes.
just. Yeah, they shouldn't
With
let
the
the
new Visual
Android store.
Studio, you can put your Android app in Visual Studio, make slight changes to it, and then release it onto Windows.
I'm gonna cut this question because we have a lot. Where would you like to see Microsoft take the Surface brand, Zach?
Upwards.
Sean?
What kind of question is that? I mean, it's not. I mean, the Surface Pro brand is not doing too bad right now.
I think. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Sean.
I was just saying, I love where the. I didn't even know my sound was on. I didn't get a single message the whole time I was on. Anyway,
Me, I'm texting you now.
oh, is it? You don't have my number.
One of that.
I think Surface great. I think I'd love to see the line just keep getting thinner and more powerful, so it can compete with full laptops. I mean, it already can now, but for cheaper.
Yeah, I think we all agree. We want to see the Surface Pro continue to go on the path it's on, and we want to see the new lower end Surface come out. I want to see how that is for.
I mean,
others.
if you want my honest prediction, I think in like 3 years, the Surface line will be where the Surface Pro line is right now, and the Surface Pro line will be somewhere we can't even imagine. Like, well, imagine that's a bit dramatic, but it'll be a lot.
The new iPad Surface.
The new iPad, God, that would be terrible. Okay, why do Microsoft partners and non-Windows Office or Xbox products lag behind? Skype, Facebook companies under these companies. Wait, what?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Restate your question, Lost Divine, and we'll
Why
take
do
another
Microsoft
look.
partners and
Wait.
I had that question.
Yeah, restate your
Yeah,
question.
do
Next, it's probably a good question, but I don't understand it.
Zach, I'm gonna throw this one at you. Mixed view on tiles. Is
Yeah,
that
mixed
possible?
view. I don't know if it's coming in Windows. I think there was a report a while ago saying it's coming in Windows 10.
Okay.
Before that, I heard about interactive tiles, which I believe spun into this. So this is, if it's coming Windows 10, it's coming Windows 10. But his question is it possible on 512 megabytes devices? I don't think so. I think this whole mixed use thing is going to be aimed at the higher end Windows phones to give them a kind of, a selling point as something that the lower end doesn't.
Heldemar asked, "What do you guys think about basically having tiles within the Action Center?"
Tiles? What, like a quick launcher? But
He said
actual tiles.
like a calendar and other stuff like weather. So like calendar, weather.
Oh, what, like an iOS?
Okay.
I guess sort of like iOS, like a today section.
I mean, do we need it? We've got tiles and
I don't
stuff.
think so.
This
I mean,
kind
you
of
could also
replaces-
bring up Cortana, who has a lot of that.
Yeah,
information.
exactly. We don't need
I would
it
say
in that
I
case.
think the bigger priority in the Action Center would be interactive.
Yeah.
Like turning Bluetooth on off is like that's really
Answering
nice.
text straight from the notification center.
Like that sort of thing is great, but some of them like Wi-Fi, you can't just click it on and off because it'll open the full Wi-Fi. I'd love to just toggle.
Yeah,
in the
no,
Action Center.
I agree. They actually, is there any phone that does that? No, they all do that. It's very
Well, some of
annoying.
them toggle now, kinda like Bluetooth toggles on and off in the Action Center on Windows Phone right now.
Oh,
but
you
if
want
do,
toggle?
I want you don't have to do toggle. I guess toggling is the motion. I just mean if I tap Bluetooth, it turns on, and then if I tap it again, it turns off. With Wi-Fi, it kind of does that, but kind of
Let's
not.
trade because you have what I want and I have what you want. I don't like that the iPhone toggles. Like, I want to see my list of Wi-Fi now. All right, so someone get on that. Hack the phones. We'll trade that.
Jailbreak.
Jailbreak. Zach, do you think Microsoft is going to hit their RTM date for summer?
I originally thought they would, but there's a lot of people saying they might not now. So, I mean, not Microsoft themselves, but people outside the company. I was speculating. I don't know. I mean, like I said, they could just push things that aren't ready back to a future update. But then again, that doesn't, you want a fully featured product when it launches. So they could, if it gets delayed, I doubt it will be delayed that much. It won't be a dramatic, 2016 launch. It's coming this year.
Yeah. Cortana. Sorry.
Maybe August, the latest I remember. But then again, that's Windows 8 and April and everything before it. So
yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It's still summer, yeah. We'll have to wait and see.
What do you think about the possibility of Cortana on Android and iOS?
It's a good thing.
I'm curious. I definitely would consider using it. I don't like Siri.
We had a whole podcast about this. Or
I don't like her.
Of it, so go find it.
I hate her. No.
We're having a divorce.
Do you know what I don't like? What I don't like is or let me tell you what I did like. On Windows Phone, when you talk to Cortana would know. She'd basically split your information and either go, okay, I'm going to do a web search, or if I don't know what you're asking, or I'm going to give you predetermined information. Siri does one of three things. She'll either do predetermined, she'll maybe do a web search, or sometimes she'll literally just go, I don't know what to do.
No, there's another one. She'll just beep at you, say she didn't.
She's just angry.
She just didn't get it.
Actually, I have on my phone. I have the Google app right there, and this is basically Google. Google Now is on iOS, and I use that more. So I'd be very curious to see if Cortana launched on iOS. I would keep.
Well, wouldn't you want Cortana? Because if you had like a PC for your actual computer, then we know Cortana is now integrated with Spartan. She's going to be integrated with
sharing information. You're thinking?
All sorts of things. So it'd be great if you could say, if you have an iPhone, which a lot of people do, or an Android phone, and you set an appointment with Cortana on there, and then it showed up in a notebook that was synced with your desktop without having to go through another server. It's just Cortana to Cortana. I think that's really useful, whether it's reminders, whether it's just other integrations, browser stuff. So, and I think it ultimately helps the Windows brand. I know some people get upset that so many exclusive features from Microsoft kind of become non-exclusive, but I think it helps the brand ultimately.
Zach, do you think the UI will change further than it is now in Windows 10? For example, the toggles in the Action Center and the Settings menu, maybe have it more like Windows Phone?
It will be refined, I know that much. So there's a few things, there's a bunch of different changes coming to the overall UI. But I think Gabe all said it in a tweet recently. He said the UI you're seeing now in build 10,041 is the general idea in where they're going. It's not finished. There will be changes that will be made, but it's on its way. So if you're moaning about the Windows 10 UI now, I'd give it till build, and then make your final complaints, or don't complain at all.
People are asking when we're going to update the WinBeta Windows 8 app.
We're not, because it's not ours.
Wait, really?
I was going to give an actual answer.
What's the actual? What's the actual answer?
What you said. You just cut me off, and I'm angry.
Sorry.
On Windows 8, we don't have an official app.
We used to, but we abandoned it.
Use the web browser.
Yeah, you can send on Windows Phone. You
can send your suggestions to Zach at WinBeta.
No, don't send them to me. I get enough.
Oh, it's Mr. Popular.
I will say this. I know it's not the same. I'm not in charge of running the app here, obviously. If anyone listens to this podcast, you know that I have no idea how to do that. But better than most, if you actually pin WinBeta to your start screen on Windows Phone, it actually does work pretty well. I have it pinned, and you get the stories that actually update through, and then I have it right next to our podcast, which is also pinned. So it's not an app. I wish,
we have an official Windows 8 app.
Yeah, I know.
Windows Phone for phones. Windows 10 for phones. We're in Converge.
Yeah, we're in Converge. We push Converge.
You can use that. Someone asked, I would like to see full desktop programs in the Windows Store. Is that ever going to happen? It already has, actually. There's not a lot of them. But if you take a look through the store, and this is actually, I got really upset once because I thought there were Windows apps for certain things, and it was just a link to a website. There's a few games that have their app listed in the store, and then they send you to the URL to go purchase something. So it is there. Not everything is there, but I'm going to assume as the Windows Store picks up more, hopefully, that will be integrated. What about Spartan on other operating systems? In regards to that, I mean, we're talking about, I guess, OS 10 and Linux when it comes to others. It's not going to happen.
That's not in their initial launch plan.
Well, it's not even something they've been focused. I mean, Linux has never been in Microsoft's eye. Well, I mean, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. In terms of consumer desktop software, Linux is not something they're directly going right now. In terms of OS 10, they killed the IE project on OS 10 a long time ago. For a number of reasons. Microsoft was the only reason IE was on the Mac in the beginning was because Microsoft had partnered with Apple, and then the contract. Apple decided to build Safari. So I'm going to say no, Spartan is just going to be on Windows 10, and obviously it's not on any past versions of Windows either.
You could never see it going to something like Samsung, who's getting a ton of Microsoft apps nowadays. We
just answered. I don't know if this is the same guy. We just answered the mixed view question, so I don't know if we're being asked that again. So rewind the podcast. And what was your answer? Just to tell him again because you missed it.
I reckon. I don't think low end, high end.
No. Okay. And let's take these last two questions. Are we all getting Windows 8.1 running device? All right. Is everyone with Windows 8.1 getting 10 on phones?
Yes.
Yes. Be happy.
I mean, they've outlined specifically the minimum requirements, but the short answer is yes.
Oh God, there were people breaking into Zach's.
Oh no!
And it switched to me. Okay, last question is your thought on the freemium model Microsoft is switching. Is it a viable solution for a big company as Microsoft is? The freemium model, what are you talking about in regards to?
I think they're probably talking about how they have a lot of services that are
free, okay, like OneDrive.
But they need to make money. Okay. Like the idea that you get premium features for free, but then to get even more premium features, you have to pay. Like Office. You think about the new Office that's coming out.
A lot of people are doing that now.
I think it's viable. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I think it's viable.
Sounds good. I think an important thing to remember, and I've learned this the more that I've worked at WinBeta, is a ton of Microsoft's business is not from me as a student. You know, I'm
sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the comments because someone just said, "Who's turned up at Zach's house?"
I dealt with it without having to get up my seat. It's fine.
But you think about
my girlfriend has the handle. Don't worry.
a huge amount of Microsoft.
Through that door is my girlfriend sorting out all the people who want to talk to me. So
she's always behind a door.
I told you guys he's going to replace that guy from One Direction.
It's true.
I've seen WinBeta show in Microsoft press conferences for leaks. Are you guys honored or shamed?
Honored.
Honored? Are you kidding?
How would we be shamed? Why would we be shamed of that?
No, let me just hold on. So I went to WinBeta like in January, and then like probably the first or second week I was here was the big January 21st event, and man, we use HipChat to communicate, and it was so buzzing. Everyone was there, and I was just like, I felt like I was in a war zone, and there were bullets flying by. And when we all were watching that stream live, and then like the first website that they showed was winbeta.org, everyone was just like, oh, it's WinBeta, it's WinBeta. We look like Kermit the Frog doing like his little arm thing, like running around. Because that's a big deal for me. Like to know that I write for a website that like we have
people read.
Satya Nadella retweeted a story like last week that we did.
Yeah.
Like that's a big deal to me. What about you guys?
Nah.
No, all right. I mean,
Zach's like, I retweet Satya Nadella, and he talks about it.
We were sending him direct messages before, so I don't know where you are, Sean.
Team, no, it's not a bloody closet. It's a door. It goes to another room.
It's not Narnia.
No, it's not a closet.
It isn't. No.
All right. So here's what we're gonna do now. We've been here an hour and 20 minutes officially. So we are going to cut the podcast. We're going to say our goodbyes, but we will stick around on YouTube for a little bit. I don't know.
Michael, this is your actual goodbye.
Oh, crap.
It is, isn't it? Did you forget?
I'm going to cry.
Did you forget?
I'm going to cry. I'd like to thank my parents. No.
Right, this has got to be a hero shot for Michael. There you go.
No. Yes. This got sad now. I don't want to. I'm gonna miss everybody at WinBeta. Can I just say that? Like I really do. I met a lot of great friends here. And this podcast has been so fun, and there's no podcast where I'm going, which makes me cry. So
you can come back anytime.
Oh, okay, but I remember because I thought about this a few days ago. So I'm going to issue Zach a challenge live here, which we brought this up last time, so don't get nervous.
Dumb.
Zach's like, what are you talking about?
I don't remember this challenge.
I would come back on WinBeta for a live Twitch stream of Mortal Kombat against you.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Sean, do you have a Xbox?
Nope. Sorry.
Okay, so you're not included. But Sean can be commentary. I would like to come back for an episode, and
I'll do a live play-by-play.
I know you do. Sean has been wanting to be a commentator for a very long time now.
Are you kidding me? I did that story on the Halo World Championships, and there are guys who their job is to be like, oh, in the doubles, oh, look at this. And they're doing a play-by-play. And he's like, he's in this room, and look at that perfect lines up the shot, a real come from behind victory. And then it's some ridiculous name because it's a video game team. That's my dream job. Not really, but it's a nice job.
So you don't like it here? No. I'm kidding. I know Sean loves to be here. So the question that probably some people want to know is, it's just going to be Sean and Zach for a bit. So it's going to be...
I'm the new Michael.
Oh, God.
What am I?
No.
You're the new...
This is Michael.
Are you
were here first. What are you talking about? I came in and ruined your life. No. So that is it. So on a sad note, okay.
You get
I will
to
be back.
In
I will
one video, and then
I will sneak in the back door somehow.
Through that door.
I will sneak in through the closet where he keeps his girlfriend, and I will. That sounds creepy now.
Michael, you come to visit the UK anytime. You can be on the podcast right next to us.
And I'll say hello. Yeah, I want homemade pizza then.
Sounds good.
Okay. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in to this longer than usual episode of the WinBeta podcast. It's been the week of March 27th, 2015. Be sure to grab this podcast from your favorite podcast clients, including iTunes, the Windows Phone podcast app, SoundCloud, and TuneIn, which I don't think anyone uses, but TuneIn. There you go. Also, now that we're on video, you could check out the video... sorry, I got distracted by the chat. You can check out the video on youtube.com/WinBeta. And at some point, I'm sure the guys here will get the video up as a video podcast for all of you wonderful people. So that's it.
We may, just so people know, we might not, I don't think we'll be doing live next week. But we will be going back to live. I mean, it'll still be video next week, but it won't be live. But we will definitely go back to live once I get everything figured out, because I'm using one software right now. I kind of want to try another thing first.
So we're ironing out a few details for live and that sort of thing. But we're here to stay. Podcast not going anywhere. So and give us your feedback.
It might be live. If it's live, just stay tuned to us on social media, and we'll let you know.
In slight honor of me leaving, can I respond to one more comment?
Yes.
So I just want to say, this is just to everyone. This is not but someone in the comments wrote, sorry to be a downer, but at least there won't be any Apple news ever on the podcast again. Which, yes, it's funny. But
it's funny. I find it funny.
If you love tech, just try to be more open with everything. You know what I mean? Why stop shutting yourself out to a company. I'm going to be blunt. Grow up a bit and enjoy the technology around you. And no, I can say it.
Yeah, you're leaving now.
You know what? You're done. This is your last podcast.
We're fired.
Get out of here.
No, but enjoy the technology around you. There's a lot of technology, and if you lock yourself out to just one thing, or you're gonna miss a lot. And we've had this discussion before, so just keep an open mind about it. And we're glad to see you guys. So be sure to subscribe and 5-star. If anything less, send Zach an email. With all the rants. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week. All right. Or I won't, but they will.
Bye.